Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. On this week's episode, we're joined by Dorian Cheah, who will tell us all about his improvisational journey. We'll play a couple games, and most importantly, learn how he improv'd his life. Let's hit it. Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans. And today, this afternoon, I'm joined by artist, musician, sketch comedian, man of many talents, Renaissance man, Dorian Cheah.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I like that introduction.
I started saying all your qualities and I was like, whoa, wait a second. Let's just say Renaissance man.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's 2025. We're ready for another Renaissance.
We are. I think we're due for one.
Yeah.
The last one was the Disney Renaissance, right?
Yeah, and now we'll lead the charge at IFTP.
There you go, IFTP. All right. So Dorian, important piece of information. This is the first time the podcast has been recorded during the day. This is historic.
Oh, wow.
Historic.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's never been done before. So thank you for being a part of history.
Wow. Thank you for letting me be a part of history.
90 episodes in, it was time for a daytime episode.
I know we've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah.
And the schedules keep on getting. Yeah.
It's part of the Renaissance,
Thank you to St. Patrick.
Thank you to St. Patrick. Yes.
And, yeah, the stars for aligning.
The stars for aligning. Yes, both those things. So how are you doing this afternoon, Dorian?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad you're here. Dorian, I think we first met in the sketch class, which is now almost a year ago, right?
Yeah, that makes
last
sense.
May,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about. But Dorian wrote a wonderful sketch about a seahorse living underwater who was pregnant. And, we learned about underwater Costco.
That's right.
The difficulties of seahorse birth.
Yeah.
Really,
male-female seahorse relations.
Male-female seahorse relations. It's tough.
Complicated. They're complicated.
It's really tough.
It is. It is tough for a male seahorse, particularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry the children. Do they birth more than one? I don't actually know.
They birth, I don't know how many.
Like a lot.
Looks like thousands.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Maybe it's hundreds.
Yeah.
But a lot.
Yeah.
They carry the babies. And one thing that I learned during my research for this sketch was that if a male and female seahorse, which are typically monogamous, but if they get separated, then what happens is the female just tends to forget about the male.
So sad. They just get lost one day, and then it's like, was I with anyone?
Yeah. So
Nope.
I thought it was a really interesting role reversal.
Yeah, definitely. Very different than our own. Yeah, wow. Okay. I might need to watch a documentary or something on seahorses. But I want to give you credit because that sketch, I still think about it every now and then because there's just a few moments in that sketch that really, they just make me laugh. Like you were able to get a saddle.
That worked out so great.
Yes.
And by the way, thanks. That was your suggestion anyway.
I don't remember that, but I'll take the credit.
You gave me some amazing feedback. And one of them was maybe, maybe he tries to, mount the others because I'm a seahorse friend.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really a funny idea.
Yeah.
And I put that in.
Yeah.
And then my friend Erin, who she's a singer, songwriter, and a performer, and she does a lot of gigs around like wine country. And so she has friends who have horses.
She's got connections, yeah.
Yes, and she found me an actual saddle to use.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised how heavy those things are.
Yeah, I feel bad for horses a little bit. You know?
So Sid put the saddle on me.
Yeah.
And it's like, this thing is like, it's huge. First of all, you don't realize, a horse is a big animal.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But the thing, a real saddle weighs like good 40 pounds at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So.
Okay. It played. Just saddle comes out. It's on your back. Sid hops on, friend of the show. Sid, right? We haven't seen him for a while, but he was on.
He rode me.
Yeah, he rode you well. So it was that moment that I love. Just you wrote that in, and then it really just, the props and everything, your performance brought it together. And then the final moment of the sketch.
Oh, yeah.
The miracle of life, right?
Yes.
The seahorse birth.
Yes.
just a really genius design of kind of your prop costume situation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It was inspired. I don't know where these things, these things like, they just come out of the ether, you know, and I don't know. But
yeah, what did you do for that costume?
Yeah, so what I had was a very cheap prosthetic belly that I got on Amazon, you know.
Smart.
And like I bought a maternity dress of some sort. It wasn't really a dress. It was more like a jumper.
Yeah.
At a secondhand store. And then, so I had the belly, and then underneath the belly, like I kind of like cut into it and like carved through the padding inside. And I put a bubble, like a bubble gun in there. So it was a challenge. It took a lot of like rehearsing and practicing to get the thing to be in the right place, and then to be able to reach in there very nonchalantly, or as nonchalant as you can be when you're in childbirth.
Of course,
when you're in labor.
Of course.
And then pull the trigger, and then the bubbles came out, simulating the
beautiful birth. And that was
the beautiful babies.
That was our show's finale, because I just sometimes when doing that class and kind of thinking about the running order, there's just sometimes a sketch that has a moment that's like, well, I don't know that we'll ever get a higher moment than that in the course of the show. And that's, you got to end on a high note, because the audience, you don't want to leave them bored. You want to leave them wanting more, right? So you hit the highest point, they're like, I want to get back to that. And they're going to remember it. I mean, just bubbles. You were yelling, you know. It was fantastic. And
Well, I have witnessed a couple of childbirths, so
seahorse or human?
Human.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I've seen seahorse births on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, there you go. It's probably, yours was probably more interesting than the actual seahorse birth.
It had a better soundtrack.
Definitely. Yeah, seahorses don't know about music, so it's a real shame. So Dorian, the reason we're here, I look at this sign, right? IFTP. And I just want to ask if you could give us a quick summary. How'd you find this place? How'd you get started here?
So I started doing improv. It was about 2 years ago. I believe it was March 2023. I think that was my first month of classes here and anywhere.
Okay, well, happy 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, thanks. And but it's an idea that I can't really tell you where exactly it first came to me, that maybe I should try improv. It's something that was kind of bubbling under in my subconscious mind for maybe years. I don't know. I don't know. But I think a lot of the kind of subconscious stuff, like maybe I really want to do this, or I should try that, or what would it be like if some of those things started to come closer to the surface during COVID?
Yeah.
Probably for a lot of us, because that was an odd time. And there was a time, where there was more idle time for me than before. And it turned into not idle time, but, projects and like doing things. And so I'm really grateful for that. I know how much, obviously there was a lot of upheaval and suffering for many people at that time too. But there was a silver lining for me, which was that I started to go deeper into my artistic life, my creative life. And it took some time, but eventually it got me to the point of like, maybe I should try an improv class. And I found you guys on Google or Yelp, or I remember looking around at a couple of different places, and this seemed like the community seemed like a good community.
Yeah.
And I wasn't disappointed. It really is. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So many great people here, and people that I call friends now that, I've met here.
Yeah.
And so I think it was about just getting looser and more open, and knowing that good things happen when I'm not in my comfort zone, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can be safe and comfortable and that's all I get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want more than that.
Yeah. There's more to life out there.
Yeah. And so I thought, yeah, I want to give this a try. And that's how it began.
And that's how it began.
Yeah.
I think that's a great intro. We're going to dive into that a little more in a little bit because I want to hear more about that. I mean, pushing yourself artistically. This is juicy stuff, Dorian. So we're going to get into it. But before we do, we got to play some three things. It's a tradition here on the podcast. We play every episode. So I have three categories that are loosely related to you. I call it three things, but it's personal. Mostly like if I go on Google, search up your name or look at your social media, what are some quick facts I can learn?
Ooh, okay.
It's not that deep. Don't worry. All right. So any questions?
No.
Nah.
I get the basic gist. Three things.
That's
Name
all
three
you need.
things. Okay.
Yep. I'll give you a category, name three things. We'll move on to the next.
All right.
Perfect. Here we go. These are three things. First category, underwater creatures.
Seahorses.
1.
Octopus.
2.
Hammerhead shark.
3. Very nice. Next category, strings on the violin.
E-A-D.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Easy. And
there's one
name the
more,
fourth
though.
one. Just name it. Name it.
G.
4. Perfect. All right. Last category, songs you've written.
Oh, butterfly.
1.
Okay. Stay a little longer.
2.
Hiding place.
3. These are three things.
And by the way, Butterfly, I just released today. It just came out on Spotify and everywhere else today.
Oh, fantastic. All right, I'm going to check that out later. Go listen to it. Look up Dorian Cheah on Spotify. Butterfly. We'll link your stuff in the description of this episode. Yeah. All right. So circling back to that first category, I don't know if that one has anything to do with you. I think underwater creatures, I think seahorses, I think Dorian. That's kind of how my mind works after that sketch. But
well, I am a Pisces, so
I am as well.
Oh, really?
Wow, yeah.
well,
Water
has
sign.
it been your birthday yet?
It has.
A happy birthday.
Yeah, well, thank you. When's yours?
Mine's February 23rd.
February 23rd. Okay, yeah, I'm March 2nd. So yeah, not long after. All right, well, happy belated birthday.
To you too.
There you go, water signs.
Yeah.
See, there it is right there. Yeah, fish.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, no explanation needed. Underwater creature, Pisces, boom. There you go. But okay, I'll ask you this. Prior to writing that sketch, were you like interested in seahorses? Were they a favorite animal of yours, or was it just divine inspiration?
I cannot remember how the hell that idea came. I really don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember at all. And like I can say that about a lot of songs that I've written. I'm like, where did that line come from? Excuse me. I don't know. You know, it's like one of those, it's just a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great mystery.
It's the gray space of living, you know?
Yeah, gray space living. It just comes to you and suddenly you're wearing a saddle.
Yeah. If you're so lucky.
If you're so lucky, that's true. I've yet to be that lucky. Anyway, next category. Why did I ask you about strings on the violin?
I play the violin. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, play, I think, is an understatement. I mean, I've watched a lot of the videos you had on Instagram. You have a number of different violins. I mean, you're a professional musician. Yeah, the play is an understatement to me.
Wow,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you have a preference between like acoustic or electric violin? Because I know there's definitely pros and cons to each.
They each have their place. They're almost a different instrument. The notes are in the same place on the fingerboard. The bowing technique is pretty much the same, but the thing is with the electric violin, the way that you create tone there are other factors involved, you know. There's the kind of effects and amp and that you use, and And the mode of expression for me has always been really like closely informed and inspired by guitar players. You know, like I think when I started playing the electric violin, I think I was like I had guitar envy. You know, I wanted to be like, you know, like a rock and roll guitar player.
Distortion pedals, all the different effects and things like that. Yeah.
So, so then, you know, it's like coming at it from that mentality it's just a different mindset.
Yeah.
But I do like playing both instruments, and I love all sorts of music.
Yeah.
So, you know, I grew up playing classical music. So that's always going to be a big part of me.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to never like country music, but I have all different kinds of interests in many different genres. And country music, you know, there's just I think there's an aspect of it, certain kinds of country music anyway. I just really like storytellers, you know, and I think that's where all of it's going for me, you know, improv, sketch comedy, acting, songwriting, any kind of creative endeavor for me. It all boils down to, like, I feel like we live on stories, you know. And so yeah, I was just listening to the song this morning by Johnny Cash called the Ballad of Ira Hayes. And it's just this really, really sad story, but artists like Johnny Cash tell these really vivid, emotionally compelling stories in music. And I love that.
Yeah. I think country too is one of those genres where, and it's built off storytelling. I mean, I think the best country songs are stories that you're listening to. And just hearing whatever character, you know, their journey within those 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, Johnny Cash, of course, too, is one of the greats. So.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Last category. I mean, I think you've given us a good lead into it. So I asked you about songs you've written.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me about that. You've written a good number of songs, right? I don't know how many.
Yeah. I don't know either, but a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably in the hundreds.
Wow.
And I started, you know, when I was like 13, I think I formed my first band with, you know, some school friends, and so we started writing songs, you know.
Yeah.
And I've played in bands throughout my life since then. When I came to LA, a few years, I'd been in LA for a few years, and I started working for a really successful pop record producer. And so I got a front row seat to see his process.
Wow.
Or be a part of his process, and see how he wrote, because he would co-write songs with other lyricists, and you know, I kind of like got that was my introduction into sort of the business of music, pop music, you know, LA style.
Yeah.
You know. And so, and then I met, you know, of course I met some of his collaborators and began writing with some of them myself. But that was sort of like how I kind of got really ramped up into writing songs.
Yeah.
And one of, and she's still a regular songwriting partner.
Wow.
Songwriting and producing partner, Michelle Weiss-Maslin. And I met her through Guy Roche, the producer that I was mentioning. And she and I, the first thing that we wrote together, this was like, I think it was like in 2003 or 2004, we pitched a song for a TV show for their like main title theme. And we wrote the song, you know, we got together, we wrote the song in whatever, 2 or 3 hours. And then we had a demo singer come in and sing it, and we pitched it, and she was like, oh yeah, they like it. They want us to try this, to try that. We ended up doing like, I don't know how many different versions.
Yeah.
Like literally 10, 15 different versions of this song, different tempos, different keys, different singers, lyric changes, structural changes. Oh, the 60-second cut down, the 30-second cut down, the 15s. We did all these different things, and it took weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And and then one day I was driving home, and I get a call from Michelle, and she's like, "We got it!" Wow. And I'm like, "Oh my God!" And it was, it was the first big sync I ever got. I was really stoked. As a writer, I've been working, on other records and stuff, but there were other people's songs, and it was the first time that I had gotten something that I wrote,
your name was on it. Yeah.
Placed, and it was a good, it played for that. It was a show on Lifetime called Missing, 1-800-MISSING. And I don't know how many seasons but our theme ran for 3 seasons. So
go. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool to say I've written a theme song for a television show.
Yeah, it was so awesome. And that was like the first thing that I did with Michelle, and so we just kept on writing.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot about the writing process just by doing it, and her business acumen, and her she's very tenacious in pursuing business opportunities. And I've been a very big beneficiary of that.
Yeah, she's always driving to the next thing.
So,
wow, that's fantastic. Okay.
But I've been doing it ever since, you know, and I, every now and then I would get sort of like a lyrical inspiration where I was like, oh, this is, like a song that I want to write. But for the most part, almost up until not so long ago, most of my writing was like, well, I mean, I could come up with tracks and beats and stuff all day long.
Yeah.
It just like spills out of me.
Yeah.
But like, what do you want to say? Like, what do you want to say? Like, I don't know. I have a co-writer who'll come in and they'll be the lyric person, you know what I mean? And, so, but only recently in the last few years, I've started to get an idea of things that I want to say in my music, so I've just been doing a lot more writing.
Yeah, like bringing your voice to the lyrics.
And it turns out that stuff is always there. You just have to not wait and for it to come. You just got to sit down and say, I'm going to write something, and just start, and like that's what it usually takes. It's just like I just decide I'm going to write something.
And whatever comes out, we're going to put it on paper first. And see what comes of it. I like that a lot. Wow. Man. Okay. All right. So based off, hearing that story, I kind of we're going to get into our interview here, but thinking about you've been a creative person, I think, for most of your life. You've been involved with music, it sounds like, from a very young age. You were in a band at 13. And then ever since then, you've been writing your own music, either lyrics or, the notation itself, right? Writing songs, playing the violin, other instruments maybe?
Guitar, bass, little keyboards.
What instrument did you start with?
Violin.
Okay. And what age were you when you started playing?
My mother put a violin in my hands when I was like 2.5 years old.
Wow. Yeah. That's 2.5. You could probably barely hold it.
You
didn't know where to put your chin.
It was a tiny little violin.
Yeah, like the first act violin. Wow. Okay. So I want to think about it like this. You've been a creative person for a long time, but at At what point in your life, you mentioned in kind of in our introduction, right? You realized you wanted to try improv. You found this place, but when was the first time in your life you heard about improv? Was it growing up? Sometime more recently? Just first exposure.
I can't remember exactly where it was, but it's not that long ago. Sometime in the last 5 years, probably. Really? Yeah. I mean, I always knew there was something, I grew up watching Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, of course.
So I knew about sketch comedy.
Yeah.
And I knew there was something, I've heard the term improv, but I really didn't ever think about.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What are they actually doing? What are the structures like? Like, what's the framework for that kind of thing? And why would it matter to me?
Yeah.
Never really thought of any of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So maybe about 5 years ago, and you were kind of mentioning COVID, right? Was this time where myself included, right? We had a lot of time to think about what we really want to do, whether that's professionally or outside of work or things like that. So that was a big driving force for you, kind of finding your way here. Yeah.
Yeah. Just creatively in general, I think that period of time was really a strong kind of like a pressure cooker, a catalyst for me to kind of push myself, and a realization that I don't want to just stay in my comfort zone where nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Yeah. It's comfortable, but it's boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so I also I think there's something about confronting fear, and for me, I was a very shy kid, which is I guess a little kind of ironic, because since I was very little, I was on stages.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. And I always felt really comfortable expressing myself through music on stage. But anytime I'd open my mouth, it was a terrifying experience.
Yeah.
Unless I was among people that I knew very well.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my intention in coming to improv class was to confront those kinds of social anxiety, and do some exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it still is, I mean, I wouldn't say it has changed me in a lot of ways, but I'm still like underneath, I'm still like basically a pretty quiet, introverted person.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that very much, because I also grew up a lot on stage, but kind of if I wasn't on stage, unless around close friends, I was kind of like, it's the shy kid, quiet kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, oh man, it's interesting to think about. I mean, now as an adult, I think I've changed, but growing up for a long time, you little quiet kid. And maybe that's the Pisces in us. I don't know. There's something
maybe
to it.
Yeah. I don't know much about astrology and all that stuff, but yeah. And I like they used to say when I was a little kid, they used to say I was spaced out, that my family used to say I was like dense, which I think can sometimes mean dumb.
Yeah.
But they weren't implying that I was dumb.
No.
But I just really was always in my own world.
Yeah.
And what I realize is, and here's what I love, this is one of the reasons that I think it's so important for me to keep working on this amazing art form of improv, which is lost in my own world. What I realize is it means lost in my thoughts, lost in my head.
Yeah.
And when I'm lost in my head, I am not here.
Yeah.
I'm not able to participate. I'm not really hearing what you're saying because I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say, or what I should say, or what you might want me to say, and that's just a bunch of crap I don't want to do anymore, It's like,
I want to be more in that present moment.
Be in the moment. It's kind of like it's a meditative thing. It's just like, or the point of any kind of practice, spiritual practice, for lack of better words, is to be more present.
Yeah.
And so I think improv is a great, fun way to encourage that.
Yeah. So in your first, let's say, couple months when you were here, kind of what were your impressions like? Who was your teacher? And kind of what
I cycled through. I think my first teacher was Jamie, and I will just say I've loved class with every single teacher that I've taken here. So I was Jamie, and Liam.
Okay,
I think, and then I took Matt's class, and I don't remember if I had signed up for it or if I was just taking a makeup class, and that was the class that I got put in, or I don't remember exactly how it came to be that I ended up in Matt's class, but one of the moments that made me go, oh, this is really great, was I was doing a scene, and the scene kind of, like, the premise appeared, and then he stopped the scene, and he was like, okay, and he gave me some notes, and it said, okay, I'll pick it up from wherever, and I can't remember the scene. I wish I could remember the scene.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you've probably done a lot of scenes since then.
Yeah. And so I did it again, and he stopped me again. It wasn't just me. I mean, he stopped the scene again.
Yeah.
And more notes, and I did it again, and I think like a fourth time. And by the fourth time, I felt like I had just, I like the scene just, it was, gonna just kind of go like that, and it just went poof, and it was, and it became, it just gave me a level of fulfillment that was very exciting. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I want more of this.
Yeah, like, oh, I want to do this. Yeah.
So, and I've had that experience with, I mean, not that exact experience, but those kinds of experiences in pretty much, any class that I've taken here. Yeah. But yeah, that one for me just came at it was just sort of like the right time and the right place. And I just, just had some really good vibes with the people in the class, and it's alternatively wonderful and hilarious and frightening and frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's still, like I have my moments where, like, I mean, I'm not as like deer in the headlights as I was when I first started, but I often like get up and do a scene and I'm like, oh, oh God.
Yeah.
Why can't I just get out of, like, why can't I just, like, because, you know that feeling when everything just kind of clicks and it flows and takes off, and like, I know what happened there. I got out of the way.
Yeah.
Why can't I just get out of the way every time? And I that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I saw you guys' show last night, and it was literally, I think maybe the best improv show I ever saw. And it seemed like, wow, these guys are just like so in it, and making room for that whatever magic just to flow in and just take over.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think everybody has those moments where you're like, oh, It's only me in my own way. You're thinking too much.
Yeah.
You're getting on stage, or you're coming in with a premise that you love the premise so much, but you got to be willing to let go of your own premises sometimes too, right?
Yeah.
And just be open to whatever that other person also brings out, and kind of merging that.
Yeah.
Right. Still, there's still some times where I'm like, why did I do that? I should have just dropped it. Let it go. And so I can very much relate to that feeling. So thinking about from when you started to maybe now, what do you think are some of the ways that you've grown as an improviser?
Well, I don't think I edit myself quite as much. I still do it. I still do some second guessing. But I'm definitely more spontaneous.
Yeah.
I will clap in when I don't really know what I'm about to do.
That's the hardest thing. So I think that's a good skill to have.
And sometimes I feel like I'm not nearly where I'd like to be as an improviser, but I do take more chances.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the main points for me.
Yeah.
Is to be able to let go enough to just take more chances. So.
And that's what this art kind of trains you to do, because it's every time you're up there, you're taking a chance.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. It's a risk. Now, prior to IFTP, I know you were performing, right? Doing music, whether that was part of an ensemble. I don't know if you were in orchestras and different things like that. Were you doing any like acting as well?
No, but I am now.
You are now?
Yeah, because because of improv.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think that was where I was headed with this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I get to talk about this because I love it. And what happened is about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, actually, I think it was maybe around April, a friend of mine asked me if I would help him make a self-tape. And I, of course, said, yeah, sure, come on over. And actually, I've done a bunch with him since. But after maybe the second one that I helped him with, he was like, yeah, you do improv. You should submit for things,
Yeah.
You should go for it. Yeah, get on casting networks and and just, make a profile. And I'm like, what's casting networks? And he's like, well, just go on there and make a profile, put up a headshot. And I was like, all right, well, what do I have to lose? Nothing.
Nothing. Literally nothing. Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
And I had some photos that a friend had taken, and
go.
it was like a pretty decent headshot. So
Yeah.
I put it up there. And I started submitting for roles and started making, self-tapes. And I submitted for something. I didn't even realize what it was, but it was for a theater production. And I got an audition request, and they asked me to go in person and audition. And so it was for a musical. And so I was supposed to prepare a song. And it was called the Rat Pack Lounge. So I was supposed to prepare 60 seconds of any Frank Sinatra song.
No pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the great,
Yeah.
one of the greats of all time.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's kind of like ignorance is bliss. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And don't really care to find out. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned, the first verse of Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went up there, and and I did my audition, and they, there was some cold reading, and they had me read for 2 different parts, and then I got a call back, and so I did. That was a Saturday morning. I went up for the first audition, and the callback was for a Tuesday night. Wow, and
that's a quick turnaround. Yeah,
and they said for the callback, they said, okay. Learn My Way, which is it's in the script.
Yeah,
it's what's called a jukebox musical, where it's
like Moulin Rouge,
composed of so songs that have already been written. Yeah, and My Way is one of the big moments for like the lead, the main character who's Vic. So I learned that song, and during those 3 days, now suddenly, because the first time I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I don't going up. Yeah,
I just want to see what it's like to audition.
Could be fun.
Audition for a play.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to see what this is like.
Yeah.
But after 3 days of like, imagining myself like, what if I actually get this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then so now I'm like really invested, emotionally invested in it. I was just so nervous, and I went in there, but I sang the song. They stopped me halfway through. They had me do some reading and read with some of the other, and everybody was in the same room. So like everybody else, like including, the other people that were going for the same role were sitting right there.
Yep.
And so that was a kind of extra, like an extra sort of bit of pressure.
It's tough.
I had never experienced that. I've done many, many auditions as a musician, since I was a kid, but never with the other, never with the competition sitting right there with you. You're always just alone there with the judges.
Yeah.
And but I did it. And I could tell when I was leaving that I didn't get the part. Because the director was asking one of the other guys that was also auditioning for Vic about his schedule the following week. And I'm like, okay. That was a good experience, and I went home. And then the next day I got a call from the director, and he's like, well, we cast somebody else, but we wanted to offer you like the opportunity to be an understudy for the role of Vic.
Yeah.
And I was just like really disappointed.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, can I think about it? He's like, well, yeah, take as much time as you want. And, we offered you because we thought you did really great. We do guarantee you one performance. And I was like, right then and there, I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, guaranteed one performance. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just said yes. And I started, going to these rehearsals. And by the way, I live in Santa Monica, and this is up in Santa Clarita.
Oh.
So I'm like driving up to Santa Clarita every weeknight.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably 4 or 5 nights a week you're rehearsing?
Yeah, for 5-6 weeks. And just sitting there and watching the rehearsals.
Taking notes. Yeah, getting the blocking down and everything.
Yeah, just like writing, like, and then coming home and running lines with friends. Yeah. And trying to like practice the blocking, but there's not that much you can do. Yeah. You can't
not
really,
the same.
It's not the same. And learning the songs. And then like the first time, so this is like, I don't know, like 4 weeks in. Yeah. And I've been so used to just going up there and sitting in the theater, watching the rehearsal. And at one point, it was right after the break, and Ted, the director, he turns over and he looks at me. He's like, you know this song? He's like, let's run World on a String again. And that's the big closing number that Vic sings. And he turns to me and he's like, do you know this? You know this one? And I'm like, He's like, well, you want to go up there and do it? And I'm like, and I was so, I mean, I'm used to performing, but not very experienced as a singer. Yeah. And I've done a lot of singing of my own song demos and stuff in the studio. but it's different when you're singing in front of a live audience, and it's different when you're singing in front of anybody.
On the cast too. I mean,
Yeah, that was actually more. So I go up and I had been practicing this song for weeks.
Yeah.
In the car on the 405.
Absolutely.
At home.
Yeah.
Wherever.
You had all that time, I'm sure. Yeah.
And we did it, and I nailed the high note, whatever. I didn't forget any of the lyrics, but man, when I sat down again, I'm going to text my friend, and I'm my thumbs were shaking. I couldn't even text. There's so much adrenaline, and it's like I realize that when you sing, your body is your instrument. Yeah. And when you have that much adrenaline in your system, your whole chest kind of is like, and you have to really fight to, you have to really get the air in there. And I think that's, I'd been taking I took some lessons with a voice coach, and I would like to continue, but breathing is proper breathing, and proper breath support is key when you're singing, especially in the theater.
Yeah.
And so that was exhilarating and terrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, one other story about that is that so in the beginning of the show, this guy Vic, he comes out and basically he gets electrocuted on stage. He gets electrocuted, and then he lies unconscious while three of the other characters come out and do this big number, right? He lies on the stage, face down for a good 5-7 minutes or so.
All right, yeah.
And and I get one rehearsal. Well, actually, I ended up getting 2 rehearsals because they gave me the pickup rehearsal.
Yeah.
So, but on that one rehearsal where finally after I get to actually do this, and we run the show from top to bottom, and that happens, and I do my stage fall, and and I'm lying face down on the stage, and the guys are doing their number, and they're there's choreography, and they're stamping, and I can feel the vibrations on the stage, and I can feel my heart beating, and I can feel my breath coming in and out of my body, and I'm lying there, and my cheek is on the
smushed into the
stage, and I'm just lying there, and I'm like, oh, I fucking love this. And I've been just completely hooked.
Yeah.
Just completely hooked.
Yeah.
And there's that electric energy that you get with your scene partners, when sometimes and I love theater, I love that you get to do it every night or whatever, again and again and again.
You get to keep doing that show.
Never exactly the same.
Nope.
But
feels
sometimes,
a little different. Yeah.
And sometimes it's just so magical,
Yeah.
And there's just this, I don't know, it's just this grace that happens once in a while that's just so addictive.
Yeah. You hit those moments, those lines, those beats, they're coming, but then when it gets there, you're like, wow, that was better than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
Oh, that killed. Or when you sat down or did, this physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're making me miss it, Dorian.
Yeah. There's one scene where I have this fight with this guy, and I slam this poker chip down on the bar, and the way the chip just bounced off, it was just, and then his reaction to it, reaction to it, where he was genuinely in that moment, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Little things like that too, I think, feedback to. I always think about the element when doing a musical or a play, right? It's for the audience and for the characters. This is the first time all these things are happening. And for you as the actor, it's your job to sell that every night. You've rehearsed this. You've done this dozens of times, more than that, right? But those little things that happen, just, in the first night they happen, maybe it's different the second night. That's what keeps it fresh for you, the actor, too. Those little surprises, like slamming a poker chip. How does it bounce? It's not going to bounce the same every time. Just those little moments that continue to remain fresh throughout the run of a show.
Yeah.
I think sell that lie.
Yeah. And then the next time I did it, I slammed the poker chip down and it like caught a little edge of my finger and I got like this big blood blister.
See?
It wasn't the same.
Yeah. It wasn't the same.
And I'm like looking for that thing. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good again.
Yeah.
And then instead I got a blood blister.
Yeah. You're like, I can't wait for the bounce. Yeah. That's some of the magic of it. Yeah. So getting like your kind of, I guess, dive into improv has kind of unlocked these other doors for you, getting into musical theater. I know you're in a musical right now. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. It's the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And it's running, I don't know when this is going to be released, but
a couple weeks.
It's running through April 6th. So at the Morgan Wixon Theater in Santa Monica. And it's a great cast. And one of the other, the guy that plays the sheriff, which is like the male lead, goes to improv here.
Oh, really?
David Callender. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic. It's a great cast. And it really centers around, the story is a great story, which is true, a true story around this brothel that operated in Texas, outside of a small town in Texas for over 100 years. And it was finally shut down because there was a guy named, in real life, his name was Marvin Zindler, who had a TV show. And he was kind of like this very like self-righteous, like, it was like kind of like tabloid news expose kind of guy. Had this horrible toupee and but he did this expose on the Chicken Ranch. That's what it was called, the Chicken Ranch, and raised such controversy about it that it created political pressure for them to come in and shut it down. But everybody knew it was like, it operated in plain daylight for over 100 years. Everybody knew about it. It wasn't a big deal. And so the show is really a lot about how kind of hypocrisy and sort of like the stigma there is around sex came and really just kind of destroyed the lives of these people. They were good people, and it's a lot about women empowerment and great story. Very. The more I learn about it, the more I feel really invested in what we're doing there. And the other night, the husband of of Carol Hall, who died, but the husband came to the show.
Wow.
Carol Hall wrote the music for this show, and this was in 1978, and it ran on Broadway for a long time.
Yeah.
But he came to the show, and then he had a lot of really interesting things to share.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an element of sex in it, of course. It's a whorehouse.
Yeah.
But it's really not. I mean, that's not really the main focus.
Yeah, it's not what it's about.
It's not really what it's about.
It's where it's set, but it's not necessarily the story.
Yeah, so it's a cool show.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And who do you play in the show?
I play Edsel Mackey. He's the town newspaper editor, and he's kind of like a little bit of an outsider. Like he's sort of like, the way I think of Edsel is he's not. It's not that he's above the fray. He's just amused, and I think he's really charmed by the local personalities, the sheriff and the local businessmen and the girl at the diner and of course the girls at the Chicken Ranch, and he really he kind of loves these people and he loves the town, but he's also like this kind of well-educated, maybe the best educated man in town, but he kind of hides it a little bit. So another cool thing for me in the show is that because there wasn't really room to put a whole band on the stage with us, instead of having a band, we're using pre-recorded tracks.
Yeah.
But the show opens with a narration, and it's typically done by the band leader, and it kind of sets,
sets the scene, right?
Scene, yeah. And so the director, Christy Mattson, thought it would be great makes sense for Edsel Mackey to be that person. And so, because I also have, musical background, so I come out and I do the narration and I sing that song because it's, there's a song about the chicken ranch and do that whole thing. So I come out there with my guitar and I kick the show off, and then I will appear periodically throughout the show in different scenes with my guitar or my violin. And
that's really cool. Way to kind of fold in that talent of yours.
It's fun. It's perfect. Yeah, it's just perfect for me. And it's nice to be able to just kind of be that little bit of a link. I think the character is already like that. It's kind of like sort of like the audience perspective a little bit in a way on these really vibrant personalities of the town and some quirky and idiosyncratic personalities.
Yeah.
And Edsel kind of the audience gets to see it through Edsel's eyes, or Edsel sees it through the audience's eyes. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
But then to have like that sort of musical thread
throughout the show,
also kind of gives it, a little bit of a pulse.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. This is an added layer of detail, I think. Yeah. Which maybe wasn't originally there, but that y'all were able to find. Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. So taking it back to improv a little bit, I want to ask, what do you think, Ben, so you've been doing this 2 years, right, as of this month, and it sounds like it's led to a lot of other incredible opportunities. I guess what would you say has been the impact of improv, both in your personal life and maybe your professional life as well? How have you seen it bleed into these other areas?
I definitely have noticed the one place that I noticed the most, besides obviously I wouldn't be doing theater if it wasn't for improv.
Yeah.
But in my songwriting, that has really benefited greatly. Because when you're in a writing, especially, not in both my own like solo writing and also when I do co-writes, which I do a lot. I am more willing to fail. And I think that is, it seems, maybe it's counterintuitive, but failure is so important.
Yeah.
And I think in improv, we learn how to fail. And when you're in the writing room, you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to just toss out an idea that just sucks and then just come up with another one right after and just keep on going.
Yeah.
And as a result of doing that, I come up with more stuff. And guess what? If you come up with more stuff, the amount of good stuff that you come up will be increased as well.
Yeah.
So
it's a matter of volume, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And just like I really don't know where the seahorse thing came out of. But it came because I was there looking for it. I avail myself to it.
Yeah.
And I learned how to do that by standing up, by clapping in, by
Pushing
showing
yourself.
up in improv class. I just avail myself to those opportunities for something to come.
Yeah.
And, I guess most of the time it doesn't, but then sometimes it does.
But when it does.
And when it does, it's a gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what songwriting is being present to capture those just to receive those gifts.
Yeah.
So that's been a really great benefit to me. And I think the same thing in life too is just maybe I've had conversations with people and developed friendships that I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for getting used to jumping up and just jumping into a scene and not knowing where it's going.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really, it's a really good, it's just good life practice.
It's good.
Being willing to get up and go without knowing where you're gonna end up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you can use that in anything in life.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like advocating for yourself almost.
Yeah.
I'm going to get up and do it no matter what happens.
Yeah. Why not me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like be open to those opportunities and you never know where they'll take you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. One last question for you. And then we're going to do a little improv.
Oh, okay.
So looking ahead, right? You've got, I feel like a lot of pots cooking right now, right? You're doing improv. You're continuing your work in music, right? You're in musical theater. So looking ahead, the year is young, right? It's mid-March. We've got a lot of months ahead of us. What are maybe some goals or things you hope to do or try within improv, within other areas that you're exploring, just within the next year or so?
Within the next year, I feel like I have, like you said, I have these different things going on, and it's just becoming apparent to me that this can all kind of tie together. And so what I'm looking to do is, and it might be one project, but it might be more than one project. I don't know. And it might happen like next month, or it might happen next year. I don't know, but I want to bring it all together and not be in like these sort of like silos. I don't, I like to make things, and there are some skills that I've developed to various degrees. But I think it's all in the service of storytelling, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's writing a song or writing a sketch or a short film or embodying a character that somebody else has written.
Yeah.
It's all in the service of telling stories, and like that's how when I am told a good story, I feel like connected.
Yeah.
I feel connected to the storyteller. I feel connected to the person that I'm watching the story with or hearing the story with. I feel connected to the human race, and I just, like that is what I want I want to connect, be connected.
Yeah.
So I don't have a specific like, well, I want to star in a film that grosses, $100 million at the box office. I mean, I do want that.
Sure. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
I do want 1 billion streams on my,
Also,
on my new song,
absolutely.
Butterfly.
Butterfly, now streaming on Spotify and everywhere you can find music.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 But you know what? I'm already doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just want to keep doing it, and I want to do it more and at the highest possible level. And what I mean by that is, I want it to be the very best it can be.
Yeah.
The very best it can be.
Yeah.
And I want to finish my day and feel like, I gave it everything that I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Tell stories, make things, and give it all you had.
Yes. That's it.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. All right. Dorian, you ready to do some improv?
Yeah.
Drink some water, get hydrated.
Yeah.
We're going to do a 30-minute long form. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
But you're going to be on your own for this. I'm just going to watch. You said you wanted to make things, right? No.
Let's make something.
All right. So a game we're going to play, it's a silly one. We just do this for fun, to close out our show. It's a classic. It's called Secrets. So in this scene, Dorian, you and I, we both have a secret that we need to tell the other person at some point in the scene. I don't know what that secret is yet. We'll find out. But to get us started, I'll give us a relationship, and then we'll take it from there. I'll black us out when I think we're done. So I think, Dorian, today, you know what we are? We're cousins.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we're cousins. First, second, third, who knows?
Right.
But we'll find out. All right. Any questions?
No.
No? All right. Let's do it. Lights up. Oh, it's perfect. The cake is perfect.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Thomas. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You go.
No. I just, it's just, I'm a little nervous because I haven't seen you since, my birthday last year.
Yeah. Well,
and a lot has changed.
yeah. I mean, I know we're really close as kids, but it's been harder to stay in touch as adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since you moved, I've been getting into some new stuff lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe it's stupid. I guess I don't know what you're into these days, but I brought you this cake. I mean, it's Ninja Turtles, which I know we like growing up, and of course we're adults. But I thought,
my God, that's so funny.
But I don't know.
You mentioned the Ninja Turtles.
You've obviously moved on.
No, not really. I mean, I still do love Ninja Turtles, and I still have Harold, and Harold and Katie.
Yeah.
The two little guys.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I keep them well hydrated.
That's good.
And they go.
of
I take them out. I take them out and give them a walk in the grass.
Wow.
Just like 3 times a week.
Yeah, that must be very slow.
They're slow.
Yeah.
But, I just stand there in the field and I let them walk around or crawl around. I guess that's what turtles don't walk, do they?
No, I don't know. They just move. But you've been getting into new stuff too. I mean, you've been taking care of the turtles, and I mean, gosh, well, tell me about it. Yeah, what have you been up to?
Yeah. Okay. God, I don't know how to tell you this.
It's okay, man. I'm here because I'm trying to do better.
Yeah.
Trying to be the cousin that I used to be.
Well, let me just get into it like this. Harold and Katie, they're of mating age.
Yeah.
You knew that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think,
Well, something happened about 6 months ago, and we have some newcomers in the terrarium.
No way. No way.
Yeah. But that's not all.
Oh,
that's not all.
There's more. Oh, I mean, young turtles alone.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You know how you said to me, don't.
I said, don't sell that car. I know you're gonna love. You were hanging on to, that old Thunderbird. I know you love that thing.
The Thunderbird.
Yeah.
It's hard to manage.
Yeah.
Because not only did Harold and Katie have kids, but the kids had kids.
Oh my, multi-generation.
We have literally a room full of turtles.
Oh,
okay.
Jeez.
And
yeah. Gosh, Thomas, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I had to sell the purple T-Bird because
you bought that.
I had to sell it because I needed turtle food.
I mean,
I'm sorry, man.
I'm feeling a lot of things. It's just because you bought that car when we were in high school, and we had it a long time, but I didn't know that you were running essentially a turtle shelter from your home.
Well, The good news is I got $8,000 for it.
Wow.
That's
a little low, but okay.
It was the buy now price on eBay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't want to, it's just, I thought,
Yeah, no, it's
like,
fine.
look, that'll pay for the first 3 years of turtle food.
Yeah, I mean that should cover you for the multi-generational family you got in your house.
Yeah. And by the way,
oh my gosh,
Harold Jr.
Harold. Okay, now this, I feel bad. It's your birthday, Thomas, and this is too much.
It's not too much. I wanted you to have Harold Jr. because he was the first.
Yeah, that he is. He's what a beaut.
And you know, I just wanted you to have something to remember the legacy that you've left.
I didn't think this was gonna come up. Oh shoot. I went on vacation last year, and you know when you're on vacation, you try food, right? I had this soup. It's really good. Asked the waiter. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's in the soup?" And he was like, "Oh, it's turtle soup." And I've had this weight on my chest because turtle soup has become my favorite food, Thomas. And you just handed me a turtle, and
Are you talking about Jade Kitchen
yeah,
in Tahunga?
yeah, I took a trip up to Tahunga,
Jeff,
you know, and
you are eating Harold's grandchildren.
Thomas, they are so good. Just chewy and just the flavor, the broth.
You're eating Harold Jr.'s children.
That's why I'm telling you, because now you've
Give me him back.
Well, hang on. I think you should try turtle soup. It may change how you feel.
You are sick.
No. Look, here, I'll put Harold Jr. down. But I actually brought some Tupperware. And a thermos. I've got some with me if you'd like.
Avert your eyes, Harold. Don't look.
Look, Thomas, I just thought, maybe we could share a meal. We have this cake. It's your birthday. This is without a doubt the best thing I've ever eaten. Ever since I went to Jade Kitchen, I've been perfecting my own recipe. Oh gosh, that sounds bad. I have cooked a lot of turtles.
Just give it. Let me try it.
Here. Happy birthday, Thomas.
It does smell. It smells pretty good.
It's unlike anything I've ever had.
Don't look at me like that, Harold. It's pretty good. Oh my God.
Yeah. You get it.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
If you're looking to downsize, man.
Why don't we just toss them in the soup?
Blackout! Oh, what a dark turn. Have you ever had turtle soup?
No.
Me neither. But I don't know. That's, I'd probably try it.
I'd probably try it, I guess.
Sure.
I've tried other things.
Yeah. Why not?
I've tried rabbit.
Yeah. I
mean, rabbits are cute. Like turtles are cute,
Yeah.
Rabbits are cute.
Yeah. I just think of the mean turtles. There's those snapping turtles. Like, it'll be like, a little win for me. You'd bite me if you saw me. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess rabbits don't bite people. I don't know. Like I've had escargot. A snail couldn't hurt me. Yeah. There's nothing a snail could do to me.
I was just at it was like a little bit of, I guess, a party.
Yeah.
Last night after the improv show, I went to see some of my castmates.
Yeah. And
there were snails by the pool.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an interesting party food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not food.
Oh.
Not food. Like
just in nature.
Yeah.
Okay, where they belong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And one of the guys actually, like, I don't know if he stepped on it or like,
yeah.
But he broke his shell.
Yeah.
And we were wondering whether or not, well, I thought, but it's okay. Like a snail can regrow a shell, but I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
It sounds nice, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. It grows back bigger, I think.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Like a crab or something.
Yeah, like the hermit crabs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, let's just pretend that that's true, Dorian. Yeah. It's true. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
They can regrow a shell.
Yeah. Stronger, tougher, bigger.
It was time for an upgrade anyway.
Yeah. It's time for an upgrade. And, we don't want to make that guy feel too guilty. All right. So before we conclude this episode, Dorian, any last words you want to leave us with? Thoughts on life, improv, music, turtles, anything at all?
Well, I thought your show last night was fantastic. I know I already said that, but I was really inspired by it. And I am looking forward to going to class tomorrow night.
All right.
And, and like just showing up and let it fly, see what happens.
Yeah.
But I just, from the very beginning, that like time travel skit that you guys did where the electrified banana peel.
Yep. I had those magical properties.
Yes. Yeah.
Kicked it all off.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think
we can leave it at that.
That's what I got.
That's what you got.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much to Dorian Cheah for coming on this show. As always, if you're interested in hearing more of his music, we'll link it in the description for this episode. 1 billion streams. We'll get there. And as always, thank you for listening to Improv for the Podcast. And, we'll see you next time. Improv for the Podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.